Let's get on with Biden's European ban, which begins with Biden lifting his terrorist ban. And it is his. It came from him and Obama. But this he says, it beyond contravening our values, these executive orders and proclamations have undermined our national security. That's right. Not allowing the terrorists into the United States undermines the national security of the United States. It's weird. It's the way Biden looks at the world. It's jeopardized our global network of alliances and partnerships and our moral blight that has dulled the power of our example over the world. And they have separated loved ones, inflicting pain that will ripple for years to come. They are just plain wrong. So there we go. That shows you exactly where Biden's priorities lie. It lies with making sure that terrorists are reunited with their families and that American families are more vulnerable.
I just love the idea of it. Reminds me of Clinton is the mother of ISIS. Like, the terrorist ban has harmed our alliances. Which alliances are you talking about?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Our relations with ISIS have never been worse. But instead of a ban, the White House says it will improve the screening of visitors by strengthening information sharing with foreign governments and other measures. Yes, the government of Somalia is notoriously trustworthy, and we're going to be sharing lots of information with them, and that certainly won't increase terrorism. Within 120 days, Biden said he wanted his Secretary of State and Homeland Security Director to provide a review of current vetting procedures and information sharing, along with the recommendations for revising them. I found this really interesting because it kind of implies that, okay, if the ban's being lifted now, and in 120 days, this will be, this review will have been conducted. What happens in that intermediate time? Is there no particular vetting process beyond the normal one, I suppose? Is it just like a window of opportunity for terrorists to get into the United States? I guess we'll find out, won't we? But anyway, for some reason, the new White House Press Secretary Jan Psaki suggested that Biden hadn't called Trump's Muslim ban xenophobic, which is weird because that was literally the primary term he used. She said that, I don't think that's quite a fair articulation. But the thing is, I mean, if we can scroll down a bit, we can see the tweets in which he literally is using the word xenophobic to describe the ban. Stop the xenophobic fear-mongering. Be responsible. Do your job. It's not Donald Trump's record of hysteria, xenophobia, and fear-mongering. It's like he's literally using. So why would you come out and say that? That's an obvious lie. And I don't want to... I mean, the New York Times, the Wall Street Journal, and all these sort of, the Washington Post, they're not going to be fact-checking Biden in the same way they fact-checked Trump, and they just came out and said, no, we're not going to bother doing that. So, okay, well, I don't want to have to do that myself, but on this particular case, just fact-checkers found this false. He did call it xenophobic. Why are you lying about this? But yeah, so it's literally in the tweets. Anyway, Biden today has announced that he's going to be banning Europeans from going to America. I don't really know why, to be honest. Well, I do know why, but it just seems really just xenophobic, frankly. Joe Biden isn't.
If that's the standard we're using.
Yeah, if that's the standard we're using.
It's very anti-white of you. Is that what we're going with this?
I mean,
that's if we have his worldview, that's essentially what it is. Which of course it isn't. It's
no.
This area has a lot of COVID, therefore we should stop travel from it.
But if we were left-wingers, then we would have no other way of describing it than being racism against white people. Joe Biden has announced that travelers from South Africa will also be barred from entering the United States as a new coronavirus variant surges through the country. Additionally, the president has extended restrictions that target travelers from Ireland, the UK, and 26 countries in Europe. These restrictions are expected to expire on Thursday due to a proclamation signed by Trump, but Biden has since overturned that proclamation, and Jen Psaki again says, beginning tomorrow, international travelers to the US must provide proof of a negative test within 3 days of travel to the airlines prior to departure. Restrictions on the country have been in place since mid-March, and Brazil was added in May. So just inverting everything, really. And speaking of inverting everything, Biden has, of course, lifted Trump's ban on transgender people serving in the military. Now, there are legitimate arguments on both sides of this particular conversation. For example, people should have the right to try to be able to serve. I mean, you might not succeed, you might fail the entry tests, but you as a citizen should be able, theoretically, to try. I can see you giving me a cross-eyed look, but
how does this apply to a medical condition? Because
I'm giving you the arguments on both sides.
I understand, but the the argument from the opposite side will be what we say on if you have this medical condition, this one or this one, we just say no. We're not even going to try you. That's
Well, apparently, transgenderism is not one of those medical conditions,
okay.
according to Imperator Biden. Obviously, the arguments on the other side are, well, I mean, what if you're in a war zone? How are you going to get hold of your vital medical needs, like the medicines, that your hormone injections and things like that? I mean, like we were going to prioritize ammunition, but
I'm trying to think of another counter argument, which would probably be, you keep them away from the front lines in the same way we don't let women go to the front lines in the British Army.
Yeah, sure, and that's pretty reasonable.
You have to be combat ready still. You are a reservist.
Sure, but I mean that just is an argument for saying women should be in the military, isn't it?
It is. Let's move on.
Apparently,
I'm joking.
But no, I actually do think that in non-combat roles these things are fine. Because I mean you need
being a woman is a medical condition. Sorry, it's just funny.
you do need you do need personnel working behind the scenes and doing administrative jobs, and there's no particular reason that a man or a woman or a transgender person can't do those things. I do think that though when it comes to frontline combat there are other concerns, and I think that transgenderism shouldn't be one of those things that's like at the forefront of the minds of the soldiers when they're currently engaging in combat. But anyway, moving on. All of these changes are, of course, radically inverting everything that Donald Trump has done, and the Washington Post, in this one opinion piece, is not very sympathetic. And I can't get over the tone that is being approached with this. Because if this is Joe Biden's view of unity, if this is the unity that we're all expecting, right, I am not interested in it. So the real problem that many social conservatives have is that they have a strict and hidebound perspective on matters of gender and sexuality, and to them the idea that people can't even be transgender just seems wrong. Now that's true. The conservatives don't recognise the distinction between sex and gender. They think that one is informed by the other biologically. The radical left believe that there is, and people who are in the middle try not to think about this at all, presumably. And so they tend to oppose any expansion of rights for trans people. Now, that's not the only reason they oppose expansion of rights, because as far as they're concerned, there is no such thing as an expansion of rights. The amount of human rights there are is exactly equal to the number of humans that there are, and that will never change in the sort of American conservative mindset. So the idea of an expansion of rights has already gone beyond what the negative view of human rights is, and has gone into positive rights, which is rights constructed by the government, which is whatever the hell they want to make up next, which is, the Bernie Sanders, Jeremy Corbyn, well, I've got a thought in my head, that should be a human right, or trains arriving on time should be a human right, I should have a human right to get shot on a battlefield, like whatever it is, But anyway, and when the president takes that step with a stroke of the pen, it's a vivid demonstration that they have had their power diminished. They've just lost political power, which compounds their loss of cultural power and makes them feel more and more like victims. A week ago, they had a president they saw as a champion of their worldview. Now it's all gone. So liberals can say to them, we hear you. We understand why this is upsetting to you. We're not trying to disrespect you, which that boat has sailed a long time ago, I would say. But we're doing it anyway because it's the right thing to do. That's right, just tell them to F themselves, is basically what the message is. This is, again, just Washington Post contributor. Many conservatives will find the Harriet Tubman bill distressing, so it refers to putting Harriet Tubman on a bill, which I don't care about at all. Even though they could barely tell you the first thing about Andrew Jackson, does that make them racist? The real answer is, it doesn't matter. What's in individual hearts is not really important. Oh. So now my intentions and my own concerns just don't matter. They don't matter. To hell with you. We're doing it anyway. Why are you even still here? Are you getting the message, guys? This is what unity looks like to the left at the moment. Sorry, we don't care. Shut up. It's happening, right? So this is obviously just an appeal to power, right? It doesn't even matter. It doesn't even matter if you're a racist. Does it make you a racist? Doesn't matter. We don't care. Mine frego. The left has returned. They're now very unhappy, and they're going to keep feeling these symbolic blows as the news tells them that they're not in charge and that America is moving in a direction they don't like. It's going to make them mad. But the right thing for Democrats to tell them is, we understand your feelings, we get why you don't like this, but we're doing it anyway, you'll get used to it. Wow, that is the most conciliatory and unifying statement and attitude that you could have approached any of this with. I can totally see why conservatives are completely happy with the Biden administration, and they're clearly just going to go along with all of this in perpetuity. There will be no backlash to this, I'm sure. I'm sure that there won't be a backlash like Donald Trump setting up something called the Office of the Former President. Now, people may scoff at this, but I think it's wonderful.
It's obviously a little bit of a bash at the
Yes.
office of the president-elect.
Yes,
which
it
was
is.
Made up by
Also
Joe Biden.
not a thing, yeah.
Yeah. Well, it is a thing now, I guess.
Yeah.
But it's a joke thing.
Yes. I mean, Trump has opened an office. He can do this. Doesn't make it official, but he can still do this. But legitimacy is often built on appearance and people's interaction with such thing. And the office itself will be responsible for managing Trump's public business. He technically is a former president. So, I mean, I guess you just have to get used to it. And there's a bit of fake news that was going around that I just want to refute. And I say fake news, it's just not confirmed, really. A state representative from the 32nd District of Florida decided to tweet out, breaking, Hunter Biden is expected to lead the DEA, which is the Drug Enforcement Agency. Now, I mean, like...
Stunning and brave.
Yes, I would. That would be one of my favourite things to happen in 2021, were that the case. Obviously, because if anyone doesn't know, Hunter Biden's laptop was taken from a repair shop. It was given to Giuliani, and Giuliani leaked a bunch of stuff. And one of those things, we can get the next one up so we can see the picture. We can scroll down a bit, because we've got some pictures in here. Hopefully it's not the one of him having sex with a 14-year-old. That's right. Hunter Biden looking...
Alleged. I think we should... just in
alleged,
case.
yes, alleged. But I mean, feel free to sue us on that one, Hunter. I'd love to have...
It out in court.
Yeah, have it out in court. But there's Hunter Biden, unconscious in bed with a crack pipe hanging out of his mouth. Returning dignity and decency to the White House. That's what the Bidens have done. This was, of course, suppressed by Twitter, and Twitter themselves came out and admitted, you know what, we probably shouldn't have suppressed that, because it turned out that something like 10% of voters in the US said that if they'd known about this in advance, they wouldn't have voted for Biden, and that would have actually put Biden under the requirement. But I suppose the F curve would have just been bigger, so it would have been fine. But anyway, the way that this was reporting, incidentally, by... Sorry, go to the next one. Saying I've archived those. Again, the Washington Post, who just seem to be on the wrong side of absolutely every issue. It's like this is choosing cruelty to publish this sort of stuff, because as they say, it's well known that Hunter Biden's a drug addict. So this is why I think this is obviously fake news. There's no other evidence to suggest that Hunter Biden will be leading the DEA, despite how great that would be, and while he's married to Lena Dunham, which is adorable, don't you think? I don't know why Lena Dunham wants to be Hunter Biden, wants to marry Hunter Biden and be his beautiful wife. But I have some bad news. I think the beautiful wife section may have already sailed. Maybe you could just be his wife. I mean, that ship's gone. But yeah, so
Side hoe, maybe.
I don't even want to think. But no, I think they'd make a lovely couple, and I'm rooting for them. So yeah, everything in America is going horribly, horribly wrong. And the left don't care. They don't care about their opinions at all.
I mean, just imagine if Trump Jr. was smoking a crack pipe. I mean, that's the thing that always irritated me with this. Like, okay,
Be the end of the world, wouldn't it?
leaked from a laptop, that's Twitter's defense. I don't care.
No one
Like,
ever claims that it's not real, though.
But that's the thing. If it had come from the other side, shoe on the other foot, what would be going on?
God, it'd be nothing but.
Yeah.
Trump's kids had better watch themselves, because it will be constant, invasive interrogation if that were to be the case. But yeah, but the point is, the real point that I've gone through all this is that the ethos behind it, you can see it. They don't care. This talk of unity is actually talk of submission. We're just going to do it. You're going to get used to it. You're going to deal with it, and we don't give a damn about your opinion.